Hi, I'm Amy Mahaly from Be Well Clinic, and today I want to talk to you about what I call gentle detox methods. These are a category of detoxification that are a more gentle way to cleanse your body and are really important to do when you are healing, introducing new probiotics, or doing anything that's shifting your body's state of health or functioning from one state of more disease to a healthier state. You can do a lot of feeding foods, building foods, herbal remedies, but if you don't keep your body clean, you're going to have problems. It's going to take longer to heal, and you're going to be more uncomfortable with your symptoms while you're healing it. I call these things that we're going to talk about today gentle detox methods. There are other methods of cleansing that are more cellular detox. So there's herbs, different protocols from different companies that help your cells to cleanse. And there is a time for that. But what we're going to talk about today is the gentle detox method. This is something that anyone can do. And the goal of this method is to feel better with less symptoms at the end. Instead of, when you're doing that cellular deeper detox, sometimes you're actually feeling worse temporarily to get the toxins out. We're going to talk about what all of these different detox methods are, but again, I want to clarify what we're going for. So there are different things that are going to take toxins from the cells and dump them into circulation. Circulation is where we feel those symptoms. Things that are circulating, things that are bouncing around. I think of the old movie Flubber, that little guy just bouncing around wreaking havoc. That's happening when toxins are loose in your body. When you are overwhelmed with toxins, you're going to have a lot of symptoms. When you dump more cellular toxins into circulation, you will increase your symptoms. Again, there's situations where we need to do that, like cancer, really severe symptoms, Lyme disease, things like that, where we actually go through a period of time where we often take time off and get it done. But in general, for most of us, as we're healing, we don't need to and shouldn't do that level of detoxification that quickly. What you can do is, as your body is cleansing and naturally dumping toxins from your cells, you don't have to make it happen, the body does it anyway. When we empty the circulating toxins out, the body knows it can dump more in. And so we cleanse the circulation and then the cells dump more. We cleanse the circulation, the cells dump more. So this cleansing of the circulation is what I call gentle detox methods. Some of these methods that I talk about are going to be just gentle basically all the time. Some of them actually can initiate cellular detox if you do them too intensely or for too long. So that's something to keep in mind as we talk about it. Let's talk about some gentle detox methods. First, we have detox baths. We have oil pulling, enemas, which include water and coffee enemas, sunbathing, saunas, and things like that heat your body, grounding, and juicing. Now let's talk about these one at a time. First, let's talk about detox baths. This is a phrase I use so often, I forget other people don't know what I mean. So a detox bath is taking a bath in a dechlorinated bath, preferably, that has either apple cider vinegar, Epsom salt, baking soda, and then kind of an advanced bath would be seaweed or bentonite clay. Taking a bath in these substances will pull toxins through your skin pores and get them out of the circulation without them having to go through the liver or the kidneys through stool or urine. The amount of surface area you have under the water matters. So more surface area, more detoxification. If you do not have a bathtub, do not like baths, cannot get the person to take a bath, you can do a foot soak, but again, it's about surface area, so it will be helpful, but not as helpful as a bath would be. When you are doing a detox bath, this is actually one of those things that can become cellular detox if you are in a bath too long, you make the water too hot, or you put in too much of the detox agent. So the detox agent is the things like apple cider vinegar or Epsom salt. In general, we do about half a cup to 1 cup in each bath that we do per person. And if you're a child or a small baby with less water, of course, you would do less amount. This amount of detox agent is often very well tolerated, but you may find that you need to start with 5 or 10 minutes in a bath and work up to 20 or 30. Some people enjoy longer baths, but really getting that 20-minute mark is where a lot of the detoxification happens, and you are in a good place for feeling cleaner. If during your bath you are feeling headache, racing heart, flushed suddenly, maybe a little nauseous, you have just initiated a little cellular detox. It is okay. Sometimes it happens. We just get out of the bath, rinse off, cool off, drink a lot of water, and usually those symptoms resolve within a few minutes. And now you know, ooh, that was a little too much for me, and you need to just slow down and work up to that over a little more time. The other question I get about detox baths is, can I put multiple of my children in a bath at the same time? My answer to this is it depends. We can share toxins back and forth, so what one person releases, the other person could absorb. So what I tell people is, if you're detoxing for maintenance, everyone's doing well, there's not a lot of toxin symptoms, you're just doing it to stay on top of detoxing, then you're probably good to put everybody in together. If some child is needing to be cleansed for sure because of symptoms, they should do a bath by themselves so that we're not sharing with anyone else. The last thing with that is that our bodies will tell us which detox agent we want to put into the bath. So you may want apple cider vinegar for weeks in a row, and then suddenly your body needs the magnesium, and it will ask you to put magnesium in the bath instead of apple cider vinegar. So before you draw a bath, ask yourself or your child, what should we put in the bath? And then put that agent into the tub with your body, and it's going to be the best one for your body on that day. If you are dechlorinating your water, you can take a detox bath every single day. And sometimes 2 or 3 times a day can be very helpful if we have more significant symptoms, more severe symptoms, or symptoms that are resolving when you're in the bath but then come back through the day. Just get in a bath again. In general, we can do about 3 baths before we start getting dehydrated. You can do more baths, just make sure you're watching the hydration status and listen to your body. The next detox method is oil pulling. Oil pulling is holding coconut or olive oil in your mouth, generally about a teaspoon, and you work up to about 20 minutes. You swish it in the front, you don't gargle it in the back. And what it's doing is helping to bring balance to your flora, especially some coconut oil has a little antimicrobial. It changes the pH of your mouth, but it also is going to soften your plaque to make it easier to remove and pull toxins from your gums, teeth, and I believe central bloodstream. The other things make sense probably to you, but let's talk about that central bloodstream cleansing. We have parotid glands in our cheeks, and there's 3 jobs of those parotid glands, but one of them is to pull heavy metals out of our bloodstream, and another is to put saliva and things in the saliva like PMGs, knowledge about cells, into the saliva so that we can tag our food to use in different parts of our body. So it makes perfect sense to me that the body that's circulating the blood, the parotid glands grab the toxins and then it can excrete them into the mouth. I think that's why we get metallic taste in our mouth sometimes when we're very high in toxins or if we're doing a detox protocol. And so oil pulling, I believe, is a way to give your body the opportunity to put those toxins into something so we can spit it out instead of having to swallow it down and make sure it doesn't reabsorb and hopefully get rid of it through our stool. Going to the mouth will give a quicker removal of those toxins. So I believe there's a central detoxification as well as the local detoxification of the mouth. One caution as you're oil pulling is that you don't want to do it too often. We can start pulling minerals from our teeth if we're doing it too much. So listen to your body. If you start getting sensitivity, it's time to take a break and do something else. I know a lot of people, and I myself oil pulled for years before I started feeling that sensitivity, and I stopped and my teeth readjusted. The other thing I do recommend is only to do 20 minutes a day of oil pulling. It can often take a little bit to work up to that because it's just weird to have oil in your mouth. And any age children can do this. As long as they're old enough to understand what's happening, they can hold it in their mouth for 5 minutes and then you just gradually start working up. A teaspoon is enough oil because your saliva will mix with it and that'll be plenty in your mouth. If you started with more, it would be too much. And make sure when you're spitting it out, don't spit it into the drain. It is not my fault if you clog your drain. So if you're spitting this out into a trash can or a jar, make sure it's properly labeled, then you can get rid of that toxin. It's gone forever and doesn't clog your drains, which can be a problem. Then you just take your toothbrush, brush your teeth with whatever's left over in your mouth from the oil that you spit out, and rinse your mouth and be done. I've been brushing my teeth with coconut oil for years now, and it has been really, really nice for my teeth. My mouth feels cleaner than it ever felt before when I was using toothpaste. So this is a great, great way to soften that plaque, balance your microbiome, and get toxins out of your mouth. Another detox method is enemas. These include coffee and water enemas. I'm actually not going to go into a lot of detail here because this is something that needs a little more education. Maybe we'll do another video here, but there are a few different resources. One of them is a website called Optimal Health Network, and I'll make sure to link that in the description below. Optimal Health Network is a website I send people to buy enema kits. You can get enema kits, coffee enema kits, and enema supplies. They also have a ton of resources, education, videos, and even a contact us that gives you a place where you can ask your enema questions. I really love the work that they're doing and I fully support them. So Optimal Health Network is a way to learn about enemas. What is a water enema? So water enemas are putting water into your bowel, your colon or large intestine, letting it sit there and then releasing it, and toxins and stool come out with the water into the toilet. This is a really intense way to cleanse. It's very helpful, not just to remove stool if there's constipation issues, but also if there's any kind of stuck stool along the walls, which often happens in a leaky gut scenario, in a abnormal flora overgrowth scenario. There's actually a soapy, sticky substance that gets produced and it mixes with the products of your stool, and then it sticks stuff on the edge of your intestines, and then that blocks absorption of food. It provides a very nice feeding ground for the bacteria we don't want to grow, and it can cause a lot of problems. So even if you're pooping every day, you may really want to do enemas. I encourage everyone to try some enemas and to see how much cleaner they feel. For me, I feel like an enema cleanses me as much as 10 detox baths. That's the level of cleansing that I feel after an enema. Coffee enemas can be even more extreme in their cleansing. I never recommend coffee enemas until people have done water enemas for a while and just know what it feels like and are good at the process. When you do a coffee enema, you start with water enemas and then you add a coffee bolus at the end. And you're able to hold that longer because your bowel is now empty, everything's cleaned out. And the coffee actually absorbs a little higher. It absorbs in through a vein and goes right to the liver and triggers the liver to cleanse much quicker than it normally does. The blood flow goes through it really fast. It stores and dumps a lot of toxins into the gallbladder and the bile. You get a bile release and then everything floods out with your emptying of that bolus of coffee. So this is an even faster way to cleanse toxins from your body, and it's a really good thing to be doing, especially if you have more severe symptoms that are associated with toxicity, like anxiety, bipolar, depression, anything that's kind of brain-related, schizophrenia. Not many schizophrenic people, but that is a really helpful thing. Seizures, if you have seizures, this can be really helpful to cleanse because you're just getting a lot of toxins out really fast. Again, don't start with coffee enemas. You need to have your intestines cleared out enough or the coffee won't absorb at the right place and you'll actually just get jittery from the caffeine. But coffee enemas are really helpful. So go to Optimal Health Network, learn more about how to do enemas and coffee enemas, get a good kit, get comfortable about it, and enemas are amazing. Next, we're going to talk about sunbathing. Saunas can be in this category. Different infrared, near infrared, heat saunas give different aspects of the cleansing process that the sun gives us. What is it that the sun is giving us? A lot of things. So the sun warms us, but it also brings different frequency levels in through our skin. Ultraviolet, infrared, solar, UV radiation, right? All these actually have different jobs and health benefits to our skin if we're getting the right amount. Different things like saunas will give you different benefits from that sunlight, but only the sun really gives us that full spectrum of benefits. So if at all possible, we want to do sunbathing. We can do it with as much skin exposed as possible, but there are some different sun rays that go inches into our body, so they can go through our clothes. So you are still getting benefit, even in the middle of winter, to go outside and be in the sun, even if very little of your skin is exposed at that time. Sun gives us a few different things. It triggers detoxification of the cells. It triggers some energy so our body can cleanse more. So it is a little bit more on that cellular detox level, but there's so much movement that happens that it often is gentle as long as you keep the time short and work up gradually to what you're tolerating. One really cool thing about the sun is that it structures the water in our cells and in our blood. We need structured water in our cells. This is a whole nother topic. This is based on the work of Jared Pollock. The Fourth Phase of Water is his book. It's fascinating if you're at all interested in kind of that chemistry, physiology mix. But the idea is that our water in our bodies, 70-ish%, right, is not just floating around. It is in a structure kind of like gelatin or jello or something like that. It can get unstructured and gets more watery, and that actually makes us function less, so our cells aren't functioning as well. If we get sunlight or heat, fevers actually do this to us as well, we can restructure the water in our cells, and then the function comes back and we're able to cleanse and just have a better function and balance in our bodies overall. I love the little memes that go around that like, we're basically plants. We need water and sunlight and food, right? But we do need those things. And the sun is really important for us to be healthy. So not only is sunbathing detoxifying, and again, saunas are just trying to give you some amount of sunbathing support without maybe being able to have a sun in the winter. Saunas, sunbathing, all those things give you some cellular detox support, but they also are energizing to our bodies. We need the sun. We need to be outside in the sun. Grounding is very similar in what it does to what the sun is doing for helping our bodies to cleanse. It is helping a little bit to physically remove toxins, but what it's doing is helping to balance our electricity. The sun gives a lot more to us, but grounding is also really important, and we can do that at any time, even when it's pretty cold outside. Below zero, maybe not safe to be outside, but grounding can be done on any natural surface through any natural fibers. So we can stand on grass or sand, even technically concrete, but that's like a rock. The more porous and the more wet, so think about what conducts electricity better, because that's what we're doing with grounding. If you have something that conducts electricity better, like wet grass or wet sand, you're going to ground a lot faster and better than if you were standing on a dry rock, for example. Unnatural substances like asphalt do not ground you because they have plastics or rubber in them. So anything with rubber, plastic, metal can ground. Some are going to conduct better than others, right? We also can have natural fibers on our feet. So we used to walk around with moccasins or tree leaves. So our physical feet didn't have to physically touch the ground for us to be grounding. We could do it through natural things like wool, cotton, hide, or things like leaves or even metal. There are grounding shoes you can buy that have metal that touches your feet, goes through the shoe and touches the ground. Those have some benefit, and some people really like those. For me, I think that it's more achievable for most of us to just go outside and ground on the ground. In the winter, I dig a little spot in the snow because I live in Colorado, and the next day it will be totally able to be stood in, and I can ground on it at least for a couple of minutes, even in the middle of the winter without freezing. Sometimes I wear cotton or wool socks outside because those are going to get wet, but they keep my feet a little bit more protected, especially wool, and then I'm able to ground through my socks even if it's a cold and wet ground that I'm standing on. It's also great to ground, of course, in the ocean through natural waters. And what's happening primarily is that your electricity, the ground is pulling. It's a net positive, and we are becoming net negative just from the friction and static of the world we live in. So we're pulling electrons down so we can balance out, and the ground, because it's net positive, we can donate a lot of electrons to the ground. There are a lot of other benefits to grounding. There's whole books written on it, but that's one of the things that's easiest to wrap your head around about what's happening. And think, we're electrical beings. If our electricity is balanced, if we pull away the extra electrons that are happening because of the friction and static in our world, we are going to feel better and we are going to function better, which includes having better detoxification. All right, the last gentle detox method we're going to talk about is juicing. Just like a lot of these other ones, juicing can be both gentle, or you can do it too much or a lot and get a little bit of a cellular detox. The substances in juice help to pull out toxins to bind them. It can be a bit of a gentle chelator. That sometimes goes to cells and chelates what's in the cells, but it also can chelate substances in the bloodstream or even in the bowel. When I'm talking about juicing, I'm primarily talking about vegetables. Juicing fruit has its own benefits, but we also get into the problem of sugar. And having too much sugar brings its own inflammation problems, so that's just not something we want to focus on primarily. We really want vegetables. I love a carrot-based vegetable because it's giving you a little bit of sweet, but from a vegetable with a lot of properties that are helpful for cleansing the body. Sometimes adding things like celery, cucumber can kind of give that a bigger base. Every single vegetable you use is going to have different levels of different minerals or nutrients, and you want to have a balance if at all possible. Juicing can still spike your blood sugar even if you don't put any fruit in it at all. If you add fat to it, so a dollop of sour cream, a little bit of coconut oil, maybe an egg yolk, that can really help to cleanse. And you can also additionally add the entire egg, because egg whites are very detoxifying. This is a little more advanced part of juicing, and I do recommend doing this with fat. So do some sour cream, for example, and an egg white, whole egg white and yolk, and that can be a very cleansing process for you. With the cleansing of juicing, we want to just watch. Start slow, don't push too much so that you're getting cellular detox. But again, you want to get that gentle detox of we got stuff out of circulation, now I feel better. And that ultimately, through all the details we just talked about, that ultimately is what gentle detox methods do and what they should feel like. When you are done with your bath or your sunbathing or your juicing glass, you should feel better. More light, more airy, more clean. Your brain is working better. You feel not so heavy and bogged down. If that's happening, congratulations. You achieved gentle detox. Sometimes it's just accidental or a fluke where you did the same thing as normal, but you pushed a little hard for what your body needed, and you end up feeling a little headachy or a little tired or foggy or heavy. That's okay. We just did a little more detoxing. Sometimes doing a different method. So let's say you juiced, maybe jump in the bath and help clear everything else that didn't get out. Otherwise, kind of slow down, be more gentle with what you're doing. As a summary, gentle detox methods are amazing. Cellular detox can be necessary, and it's better to work with a program or a person who knows what you're doing, or listen to your body and go very slow and gently and do gentle detox methods at the same time, so you can go as quick as you can for healing and get through that toxic load as much as possible. I always tell people you don't know what your toxin load is until you start detoxing. So that's something to keep in mind, and don't be surprised if you are way more toxic than you think you are, or maybe you are less toxic than you think you are, and that would be awesome too. I hope this video is helpful for you. If you enjoyed this video or you want to watch other health topics, please like this video. It really does help out. Subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend, and I will see you in the next video.